What causes hormone imbalances? Okay, what causes hormone imbalances? That's a loaded question. Um, well, again, so we spoke about this many times. Anyone who's heard me speak, if not, the hormone game is, which I call a game, the hormone game is really very complex. So it's not going to be like just one singular cause for hormone imbalances. So there are many things that contribute to hormone imbalances or hormone changes. Certainly, as we age, our hormones change, right? That was for men too. Men go through andropause as women go through menopause. Certainly, my testosterone level is not going to be what it was when I was 20 years old. So hormones do change. But I would say really is that when you look at the complexity of hormones, when we talk about hormone imbalances, there is a see again there is a connection between your hormones and your digestive system. There's a connection between your hormones and your immune system. There's crosstalk there. So very commonly, people who are really let's just say suffering with hormone imbalances or hormone dysregulation, certainly looking at the digestive environment as a major contributory factor in hormone dysregulation would be high priority. Well, so again, the immune system, and 80% of the immune system is in the gut. So very often we find that when the immune system is being struggled, whether it's due to food reactions or food sensitivities or underlying infections, bacterial or viral loads, heavy metals, there's a whole slew of things, right? That the immune system has a direct impact on dysregulating hormones. Right. And again, part of the hormone game is that, in the medical model, it's really, I don't know if I could say simplified. It's simplified in the sense that the medical model just says, okay, a person is, let's say they're going into menopause or perimenopausal woman, and they have symptoms that the doctor says, okay, why don't we just put you on estrogen replacement therapy? So basically in the medical model, it's really just hormone replacement based on symptoms. There's no real deeper evaluation as to are the hormones really necessary? Is the dosage incorrect? Is there any follow-up testing to make sure that the person is actually utilizing and metabolizing those hormones properly? So that's one of the problems that I see in the medical model with hormone replacement. But there's three points to hormones. Number one is production of hormones. All right, so our glands produce hormones. So each gland produces its own specific set of hormones. Right, so for a woman, right, the ovaries is going to be producing the estrogens and progesterones that we see in blood or in serum, which is happening during a woman's menstrual years, cycling years. All right, so that's what you're really observing in blood is the production by the ovaries. When a woman moves into menopause and the ovaries are not really manufacturing those hormones, then you're not going to see so much in blood. The blood levels are going to drop because the estrogens and progesterones are being produced in other tissues of the body, specifically the adrenal glands and also in other things like breast tissue and stuff. So the measurement of hormones in blood becomes less accurate. The second part of hormones, which is not looked at in medical model, is the actual utilization. Meaning what is biologically available for the cells to take in. Remember, hormones, when you think about hormones, we don't really think about what are they actually doing. With hormones, they have to get inside your cell. I always say that the party is taking place inside the cells. That includes oxygen and glucose and magnesium, but hormones got to get inside your cell. Right. And so when you look at, if you do a saliva test, you're looking at what we call free hormones. They're not bound to proteins, meaning, again, that when a gland is making a hormone, whether it's the ovaries, whether it's the thyroid, whether it's the adrenal glands, when hormones are manufactured, they are attached to proteins. The protein is the taxi cab that transports the hormones around the body. And that's going to be known as total hormone. In the case of thyroid, for example, it would be total or TT4s and total or TT3s. That represents what is manufactured. Right? As long as the hormone is bound to the protein, it cannot get inside your cell. Right? It has to become unbound from the protein. Right? And that's what is referred to as a free Free, free hormone. Right? And that can be measured more accurately in a saliva test. So blood testing is going to look at production by the gland. Saliva testing is going to look at bioavailability, and sometimes and oftentimes they don't match. And then what you could argue would be the most important part of the hormone game is the breaking down, what is known as metabolizing of the hormones. And that is taking place primarily in your liver. Your liver has two different phases, or detoxification phases. And so, for example, it's taking hormones, thyroid, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol, and is breaking these hormones down after the body utilizes them through these detoxification pathways. And very often there's a lot of reasons why a person may not be detoxifying or metabolizing those hormones, genetics included. So many times people have genetic, they call them SNPs or mutations or polymorphisms, whatever words you choose, in certain enzymes that may not allow an individual to break down. Specifically, I'm using estrogen as an example. If they have there's an enzyme called COMT. It's an enzyme that breaks down estrogen in the liver, and many people don't have that enzyme working properly. So that could certainly interfere or affect how they metabolize the estrogens and clear them out of the body. So if you're not clearing the estrogens out, specifically if you're not clearing out the metabolites are backing up into the system. And the metabolites, which are not really the real hormone any longer, it's a different version of it, but they actually compete, almost like musical chairs. They're competing with the real hormone for the cell's receptor, and they actually outcompete with the real hormones. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that the metabolite, if it's not being cleared out, is going to actually lock onto a cell's receptor and prevent the actual hormone, the real hormone, from getting access to the cell. So those metabolites actually has an effect by giving the individual, in this case using estrogen as an example, low estrogen symptoms because they're not clearing them out. Hope that didn't make that sound too complicated, but it's, so you have the production of hormones, you have the utilization of hormones, and I'm telling you that doesn't get looked at in the medical model. And then I'm arguing that I really think that the metabolizing, the breaking and clearing of hormones is really, really important. That's why anyone that I even see who comes to me who's on hormone replacement therapy, from a medical doctor, whomever, I always insist that they run a urinary hormone test, which is to analyze those metabolites to make sure that, okay, if they're taking the hormone replacement, are they getting good utilization of it? And most importantly, are they doing it safely? And are they breaking down and clearing it? If they're doing it safely, then we can feel comfortable that the thyroid hormone replacement, if it's effective, they can feel confident to continue using it. Right. And that would include even, genetic predispositions for certain things.
I
So
did get related to that.
Yeah.
I got two questions